Bonjour, dear friends. Welcome. I'm with Sophie Drucker, who runs all our wonderful vineyards. And this is a JCB Live wine style today. And we are in the fabulous Buena Vista Vineyards in the heart of Napa Valley on Founders Ranch. This is an amazing ranch that was established many decades ago in the heart of San Lena. And we're very excited today because this is a strategic moment in the history of vineyards and one of the most important moments probably in grape growing. The wine is going to be actually made now because the decision of pruning is essential. How you prune, why you prune, what you save for the following year. And this is where the strategy of the intertwining moment of Mother Nature and us as human really plays at its best. So maybe we'll start by Sophie telling us all about pruning in front of this gorgeous vine on this beautiful day.
Yes. So first thing and most important thing, safety.
Ooh la la! Look at those sexy glasses. Now I'm really ready.
Now we're ready. All right, so what we have here is a Cabernet vine trained to cordons. These are these permanent wood structures on the pruning wire here. And this is a type of pruning that we call spur pruning. And so you can see here that these are the spurs from last year. And what happens is we're gonna leave a two bud spur in each of these positions. And from each of those buds, we'll get a shoot. So this is last year's growth, now lignified and most of it ready to cut off. So what we want to do is leave a two bud spur for this year, and we'll get our two shoots growing out of this spur. We want to try and we prefer to choose the bottom position, but we also want something that's growing a little bit more upright. So sometimes, you know, you have to sacrifice a little bit of extra growth to get a better position. What we don't want to do is always choose the top, because what happens is your position gets higher and higher and higher very rapidly. And what you end up with is a really tall position, a really tall spur position that's a little bit more vulnerable in terms of breakage, a little weaker.
Because we need to think about the lifespan of the whole season and as well plan for the following year. We take into account the last and the following. So the beauty of pruning, it's not a mechanical exercise that you could just go for without strategizing. And just for all of you, this is the trunk, right? This is the beautiful cordon, as we call it with the French accent. This is the spur, and this is the cane. So guess what I love to do with the cane? As we prune, you keep the cane, and with our very good friend Georges Blanc and many other fabulous chefs, we make the best fire and barbecue wood in history. So if you do pruning at home and if you have a little vineyard, keep those because it brings a beautiful flavor profile with the trunk or eventually the cordon if you replant your vineyard. So never forget about this.
So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna cut off the top position and we're gonna leave this two bud spur right here.
And you could see, right?
Yeah, this is the sap flowing in the vine.
Isn't it gorgeous?
On this warm day where things are starting to come back to life, we're getting activity from the vine. These vines will probably start bud break in usually about the 1st of April, more or less. You know, it varies depending on the season, and it's unseasonably warm and beautiful today, so we might see bud break happen a little bit early.
Look at this artistic moment of history. Buena Vista, from obviously the vine all the way to the bottle. And that sap moment is very unique. We're so blessed to be able to see this.
Yeah, it's exciting. So one thing we want to think about, in addition to the position and how we want the position to grow for the life of the vine, is also sometimes we see shoots that are a little bit weaker like this, and we don't want to leave as many buds on a shoot like this. So what we might do here is we might cut it back to one. That allows the vine to focus its energy a little bit more into that one bud and have a little bit stronger growth the next year. So hopefully we can get back to a 2-bud spur.
So when we think about it, it's like children, and it's like feeding birds. The mother birds select where the food ought to go in the nest. It's the same here, is you want to manage and maximize the energy going into the vines. And this is one pruning technique among many others. And one of the one I was trained on is actually a different technique, which is the guillot technique, which we do in Burgundy. And then you have another technique in the Beaujolais named the gobelet technique as well. So it's very interesting as well that it appears to be a simple work, but it requires a lot of thinking, right, Sophie? A lot of strategizing.
It does. Yeah.
And really a good pruning team like we have, of course, led by Sophie, maximizes unbelievable grapes and clusters, cluster formation, and all of that. So this is really important.
So I can kind of explain how guillot pruning would work a little bit here, and I'll use this shoot here as my example. So guillot is what we call stateside cane pruning. And let me get rid of this stuff so that we can see a little bit better. So the idea behind cane pruning is that the wood that you're putting down on the fruiting wire is growth from last year only. So you would basically keep something like this that was coming out of the head of the vine, their head trained cane prune, and it would get tied down to the fruiting wire like this. This is a little bit high, it's not exactly right, but that's the idea, is that these buds now become your positions for your shoots next year. And the reason that we do that in some varietals and some vineyards is that these buds actually tend to be a little bit more fruitful in certain varieties. And so the balance between the reproductive growth, the fruit, and the vegetative growth, the shoots, tends to be a better balance in certain areas. And it's a matter of knowing your vineyard and knowing your variety and deciding what makes the most sense for your place.
And in Burgundy specifically, as we love it and we breathe it and we come from it, we tend to keep 8 eye. So you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You lay it very nicely and gently, and then this is your technique. And you typically don't attach it yet. You know, at this time of the year, you put it under the wire with your hand, and then you come back typically 6 weeks to 8 weeks later and attach it. And this is really the guillot technique from Burgundy. So it's a lot of fun. How many pruning techniques would you say we use here at all our wineries in California?
Yeah, ooh, that's
Probably
a big
6.
question. Maybe more. Yeah, I mean, it depends if you would count split canopies where you have a quadrilateral system and you have 4. But I would
Or Smith and Dyson, which is...
Or Smith and Dyson, where one goes up and one goes down. Or you can have both going up, but you can have them, you know, instead of horizontally separated, they can be vertically separated. There's quite a few different training methods and pruning methods that you'll see out there. But this is probably the most classic and the most common thing that you'll see.
And they come at play, as an example, dear friends, in this beautiful wine here. This is the famous proprietary blend. This is the wine that Buena Vista, since the foundation of winery, has been producing, and we're very proud of this wine because this is actually 56% Sonoma County and the balance in Napa. So when we talk about pruning techniques, this wine exemplify both techniques being used in both valleys and from all the different grape variety we use. So when you think about these bottles of wine, you've had, as Sophie explained, probably 6 diverse techniques, as you have 6 grape varieties which are composing this amazing musical blend. So there's a lot of work that comes into play in this bottle of wine and a lot of manual attention. You could see as well those beautiful shear that Sophie's having, the same one you would use and buy maybe for your roses if you have those at home. And this is a very good one because it doesn't tire your finger and your hand, and it's very gentle. Yeah. Yes.
They're great.
But you could see the gorgeous result now, right? Look at this beautiful wood. This is a great, gorgeous vine here at the Founders Ranch that was founded in the early 1920s. And you could see the sap. We're having already today a beautiful weather that is going to welcome this harvest, which will be again magical. And you could see a fair amount of grass between the rows. Maybe, Sophie, you want to touch on that?
Yeah. So in the fall after harvest, we seeded a cover crop, and what we have here is a mixture of there's some peas in here, and we have some, let me see, some oats. You can see this is an oat, and there should be some favas. Here's a fava.
And maybe a few mustards.
And some mustards as well, yep.
The real
and some
Dijon mustard.
well.
Look at that.
And what this cover crop does is these peas and these favas are nitrogen fixers. So they will pull nitrogen out of the atmosphere and fix it into their roots. They have these little nodules where they fix the nitrogen, and that will bring nitrogen into our soil and help keep our soil, great for growing the grapes without adding synthetic nitrogens. The oats are a great source of carbon, so they add structure. What we'll do is we'll come in and we'll till this all in the spring just around bud break, so we get structure, organic matter from the oats. The radishes and the mustards have deep root systems, so they help break the soil apart. They help with aeration. As the bulbs of the radishes decompose, you get these beautiful, cavities in the soil where you can get water infiltration, you can get air into the soil. And so it's just a perfect little mix for creating healthy, beautiful soils.
This is the oatmeal for the human being. This is the oatmeal for the soil when you think about it. And this is really fabulous because we work so closely with Mother Nature. And our goal here at the Founders Ranch that constitute the beautiful Buena Vista wines from the Napa side is really to try to have Mother Nature guide us, tell us what to do, and work with her in a pure organic and biodynamic sense. So this is very thrilling because not only Raymond Vineyards, the Loge Vineyards, but as well Buena Vista is really encouraging Mother Nature to be not only green, but to be the force behind the energy of our wine. The vibration you feel from the wine comes from the soil. As below, so above. Never forget this philosophy in whatever you do. And it could be, of course, infusion. It could be great gardening from your flower, which will remain longer in the vase if you farm them correctly and organically, all the way to your vegetables, to your fruits, and to your plants. So I'm delighted today that we could, with Sophie, show you the essence of anything in the garden, whether it's your orchard, whether it's your roses. It's the art of pruning, which is one of the most difficult exercise, I would say, in the vineyard.
But it's meditative, and at the end you have this beautiful, clean slate ready for a new year of growth, and it's, for me, the most exciting.
So to meditation in the vineyards. Thank you for joining us, and we cannot wait to show you more of the life in the vineyards.